close-up look at all your Concho Valley High School football. This is Inside the Game. Sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.
Welcome back to week 2 of Inside the Game here on KSAN. I'm Keon Russell, and it's time to get this show on the roll. Sitting at 1-0 after a win over Lamesa in week 1, the Lakeview Chiefs are hungry for more, taking on a team they defeated 39-25 in week 2 of last season. The Lakeview Chiefs destroyed the Tornadoes from start to finish in Friday's game 49-8. The Chiefs got the run game going early on with the big guys up front on the offensive line, and defense held up their end of the bargain, only allowing 8 total points. This week, it's Sweetwater coming into San Angelo Stadium on senior night. Lakeview defeated Sweetwater last season 39-25 on the road and would like to create some of that same magic this time around.
Every week's a new week. Every week is a new week, and so we got to prepare for every opponent we face on Friday. Very good team, very solid, throwing the ball. They're big up front. They're fast. We just got to be sound, and be smart in our assignments on defense. Hopefully create some turnovers and sustain some drives.
Senior night tonight for the Chiefs as they face Sweetwater on their home turf for the first time this season. All right, 4th down and short here for the Mustangs. Direct snap to the QB. Noah Rio sniffs the play out, lowers the shoulder, and stops him short of the first down. Chiefs ball. Chiefs defense came to play in this one. Sweetwater running back makes a few men miss, cuts it back to the other side of the field, as you can see there, loses the ball. Players fighting to gain possession, and Trey Henry comes out with the fumble recovery. He's excited. Chiefs down 14-2 in the first, but not for long. Check this play out. Adrian Flores fills the kickoff, sees daylight in the middle of the field, and hits full speed. Makes a few defenders look silly, and he is gone. Chiefs get their first touchdown of the game, inching closer, 14-8. Sweetwater would go on to win this one 62-35. The Central Bobcats showed a lot of promise in week 1. Now it's time to put it all together and come away with the win as they hit the road to face El Paso Montwood. The Central Bobcats facing the Rams in this one, searching for their first win of the season. Early on in the first quarter, Christian English takes the snap and shows off the speed. And no, folks, the clip is not sped up. He's just that fast, slicing through the defenders to score the first points of the game. QB Reed here almost faked us out on the camera crew. With that one, Tyree Brawley takes the handoff and extends the Central lead 21-13 in the third quarter. Central wins this one 35-33, getting their first win of the 2023 season. After their dominant performance against Eastland in the season opener, the Hawks have their first test of the season as they go on the road to a top 15 team in 2A Division I. The Hawks seeking revenge from last year's 18-14 loss against Cisco. Running back looking to get to the outside, but he is stopped by Garen Wiggins and Briggs Jones to keep him out of the end zone right there. The Hawks now with the ball, the flex bone offense doing its thing, causing confusion. Jones emerges heading for the sidelines, one man to beat, but is tackled after the huge gain. Wall now deep in Lobos territory. Gunnar Dillard with the pitch back to Nathan Pepper, follows his blockers head first into the end zone for the Hawk touchdown. Wall goes on to win this one 27-10. The TLCA San Angelo Eagles weren't able to get that first win for new head coach Paulo Gonzalez last Friday night, so they look to maximize their opportunity and do so tonight as they face a non-district opponent. The Eagles faced Odessa Compass here tonight in what was scheduled as a 7 o'clock kickoff. In last season's matchup, the Cougars just squeaked by the resilient TLCA group, but by 1 point in both teams' first meeting ever. This one going down in the final seconds, all knotted up right now at 24 in the fourth quarter. We have a great game up next. The Brady Bulldogs are taking the trip to the Puncher Dome this week for a collision course of a matchup. The Brady Bulldogs 0-1 taking on the 1-0 Mason Punchers here in week 2. First quarter, the Bulldogs break out the tricks. The reverse played perfectly. Zeke Jones with the recipient of the touchdown here. Brady leads 7-0 in the first. Mason responds immediately. At first, you don't see him, lost in the pile, and then there's the puncher in Sutton Solero, who gets it outside and puts up 7. After a lengthy quarterback keeper, my man Frankie Bali calls his number to give Mason the first lead of the game. Mason on the ground once again. This time it's Ryan Todd who is in for the short-yarded touchdown. Mason moves on to 2-0 on the season with a 41-7 victory tonight at home. Two teams coming off a Week 1 loss, Grape Creek versus Christoval, both looking for their first win. Stan McLaughlin takes the snap again. So nice. Fake this out in the camera crew. Pitches it off to Jake Edmiston, and he is gone up the sideline. Makes a man miss and dives into the end zone for 6 points. As you can see there, Cougs lead 6-0. McLaughlin in the shotgun again, takes the snap and pitches it off to Manuel Rejos and gets busy. Reads the block from his receiver and hits the hole up the sideline, and not a soul will stop that man on his way to score the second touchdown of the game. Cougs will lead 14-0 at half, and the Cougs in this one, great game here tonight as they win 14-8. The Ozona Lions dominated in Week 1, putting up 65 total points en route to their win over TLCA. This week, they welcome in a Wink team. The Lions matching up with the Wink Wildcats last year. The two teams combined for a total 89 points and saw the Wink Wildcats come out on top 51-38. Tonight, the Lions have plans to get revenge and still have a chance, trying to do so while trailing 42-36 with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. All right, stay with us. Our KSAN Game of the Week is coming up right after this break. We'll have more inside the game right after this break.
Start your day with a Rosa's Cafe steak, fajita, and egg breakfast taco.
On Season 6 of Fansville by Dr. Pepper, things are heating up.
Mom, Dad, I have a girlfriend, and she likes college football.
The stars have arrived.
I've made my choice. This season, I will be drinking Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
And everyone wants a taste of fame.
Welcome back to Chuck's Take, because every fan needs a podcast.
To get a thick color, I use 2 coats of maroon. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
I love your nails.
Thank you.
Buy more, save more during the 4-day Super Labor Day sale at Furniture Row. That's 4 amazing days to get $100 off every $1,000 you spend. With the largest selection at the lowest prices guaranteed, it's the perfect time to refresh your living room, dining room, bedroom, or fall into a new mattress. Check out special purchases and doorbusters while they last. Plus, 6 years, no interest financing. But hurry, the 4-day Super Labor Day sale at Furniture Row ends Monday.
It's time again for the Teacher of the Week, sponsored by Concho Educators Federal Credit Union. Go to ConchoValleyHomepage.com and tell us how your teacher goes above and beyond. They could win great prizes like a gift card to Pack Saddle Barbecue, a plaque from Angelo Awards, teacher appreciation bag from Concho Educators, a gift card from Holiday Cleaners, a flower bouquet from Southwest Florists, a delicious cake from City Cafe and Bakery, and a gift certificate from Old Central Firehouse. Teacher of the Week is sponsored by Concho Educators Federal Credit Union. Go to ConchoValleyHomepage.com for more info.
Welcome back to Inside the Game. Our game of the week is Coahoma taking on the Sonora Broncos at home. Sonora fell to the Bulldogs last season, 31-27 in Week 2, and Shelby was able to catch up with the Broncos to see how they plan to come away with a victory in this matchup. Let's take a look.
Man, intensity. A lot of intensity and explosion. So this group's ready to play. They know what happened last year, and it's going to be a good one.
Our Week 2 KSAN Game of the Week is taking us over to the Sonora Broncos, who are taking on the Coahoma Bulldogs, an athletic and talented team. They fell to last season by just 4 points.
I did say forget the past, but, everything, a loss does sting, so we're going to try and come back from that. Got to execute. We got new players, new positions, new coaches and everything, so we'll see how we do this year.
Very athletic. Coach Jocelyn's, one, he's a friend of mine, but two, he does a really good job over there. They're extremely athletic. They had the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week this week. Their quarterback is young, but he's really good at playing quarterback. So they've got really good athletes, and we got to make sure that we can contain them.
After a stellar 2022 season ending shorter than these Broncos were ready for, the message this season is, of course, 1-0 every week, but it's also...
Well, we break it out every time. We break it out to state champs. That's where we want to go. Coach Weston says it every day, journey to Dairy World.
What we go by is chase for chase. We have 5 on that wall, and we're looking to make it 6, so that's what we want to do.
To come out with a win on Friday night, this Sonora team agrees that they need to play Bronco football for all 4 quarters.
Eliminate the mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes last year. People were fumbling, interceptions, all that stuff, and that's just eliminate them more mistakes and score touchdowns.
All right, it's game time down at Bronco Field. Sonora taking on Coahoma, seeking their revenge from last year. Sonora is going to strike early on. A handoff to Edgar DeLuna, and he's going to break every Bulldog tackle again and again. Playing Bronco football, as you can see him right there, right off from the first snap. 53-yard touchdown to start the game off the right way. Not too much longer later, early in the second, QB Juan Castillo is going to do a quick quarterback keeper and run it in for a 5-yard touchdown. Broncos lead. A fake handoff to one Bronco into the arms of another, bombarded by a pile of dogs and Broncos. But look who takes it out. Untouched, DeLuna is going to do it again. He's going to take it all the way home. Broncos on top in this one. The Broncos get the win tonight, 44-30, as they take down Coahoma. All right, our very own Shelby Rose was able to catch this one from the start to finish. Shelby, tell us what it was like out there seeing this one in live action.
Yeah, Keon, week 2 of Friday Night Lights has already come and gone out here at Bronco Stadium, and boy, was this one a game to watch. A battle back and forth all the way to the very end, with our Broncos coming out on top 44-30. I want to talk about one player in particular, though. Number 1 for the Broncos, Edward DeLuna. He isn't just a wide receiver, but a running back and linebacker, doing everything he can do to bring this Broncos team success. We saw his 2 touchdowns earlier, but I mean, look at how tough he is. It took over half the Bulldogs team to get him down and off the field. DeLuna was on fire from the first snap to the last whistle, and a huge part of keeping these Broncos in the win column tonight, adding another touchdown with 1.5 minutes to go. The Broncos rewrite the script this year, taking the win over Coahoma 44-30, and are now 2-0 on the season. That's all from out here at Bronco Stadium. I'm Shelby Rhodes, KSAN Sports. Back to you, Keon.
This live shot is sponsored by AFCO Steel.
Yeah, thank you for that, Shelby. We now shift our focus to District 14-2A for the Junction Eagles as they search for their first win of the season. The Junction Eagles dropped their season opener 40-19 against DeLeon at home, and this week they have a chance to right their wrongs as they take on San Saba on the road. The Eagles come out and absolutely dominate here tonight, winning 34-22 against San Saba. 2 teams who met in the bi-district round of the playoffs last season and game was separated by only 1 point are in action here in week 2. The Miles Bulldogs are on the road facing off against Sterling City for the 2 teams' 32nd meeting all time. First quarter, Ty Turner keeps it himself and will pitch it off to Johnny Monreal. He will hug the side passing defenders. That man is gone, folks, and will dive into the end zone. Touchdown. Miles looking to strike back. Haven Book bounces back, scrambling around, and deep pass to Trevin May. He will be in for a Bulldogs touchdown, a 2-point conversion later. After an interception, Eagles will have the possession. Once again, Turner fakes it and will keep it himself, falling into the end zone for another Sterling City touchdown. Sterling City wins tonight in a thriller of a game, 36-32. Now let's take a look at 2 teams who were looking to get win number 2 in District 5-2A. The El Dorado Eagles riding high after their impressive Week 1 win over the Cristobal Cougars at home. They took on Winters here tonight, a team they fell to 18-12 last season. The Eagles come out focused and prepared and come away with the victory 40-12 over Winters. Then the Water Valley Wildcats coming off their beatdown of a win in Week 1 as well against Abilene TLCA. They now face Hamlin on the road, and the Wildcats fall in the close here 14-19 against the Pied Pipers. All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more Inside the Game right after this break.
Easy money. Hi, I'm Mike. Come to MGB for quick, easy money. It's the way Texans have cashed in on their gold, silver, and diamonds for over a decade. Come to MGB, Mike's Gold Buyers, and you'll say,
I sold gold and I like Mike.
Your home is surrounded. That's right. Your home is surrounded by soil that is expanding and contracting. And when your home's foundation moves up and down, it causes fractures over time. Those fractures can make doors hard to open, crack sheetrock, even break water pipes. Concho Valley Foundation Repair helps to stabilize your foundation, and they back it with a fantastic guarantee. Protect your home with a call to Concho Valley Foundation Repair today.
The Locker Room is back on ConchoValleyHomepage.com with high school football scores, highlights, and top stories available right from your computer or phone. The Locker Room on ConchoValleyHomepage.com. Log on and get in the game today.
When life takes a challenging turn, when you need specialized health care, certified specialty nurses make a difference. Dedicated to lifelong learning, their specialized skills include the latest developments in patient care. Throughout your life, no matter what you're faced with, from primary to critical and advanced care, certified specialty nurses and advanced practice nurses make a difference. Learn more at certifiednurses.org.
Welcome back to Inside the Game. The Erie County Hornets look to get in the win column for the first time of the season. Now, this was a Thursday night matchup. The 0-1 Hornets taking on the Spur Bulldogs in their second game. Bulldogs with the ball first. QB handoff. He's brought down by Keegan Wadsworth, not before pitching it out, but it's a fumble recovery by Erie County's Iron Davis to put the Hornets on the board first in that one. Not long later, Davis with the back pass to Colton Laudermilk. He'll find an open lane and take it all the way into the end zone with ease. Hornets lead 14-0. Almost a copy and paste play here with this next one. This time it's out to Wyatt Morris, and he'll take it right up the middle for an Erie County touchdown. The Hornets take this one over Spur Bulldogs 48-0. Staying right here in six-man football, we have the Eden Bulldogs taking on the Blackwell Hornets, two teams who didn't get off to the best start that they had hoped for in week 1 of the 2023 season, but every week presents a new opportunity. The Blackwell Hornets come out and get the victory 38-19 over the Bulldogs tonight. Then we have the very best Falcons coming in after a week 1 shutout victory over Santa Ana, facing the Zephyr Bulldogs. Very best leads their all-time series 2-1 and added to that total tonight, winning in this one 42-22 over the Bulldogs. More from District 13 1A action. We have the Robert Lee Steers looking to follow up their dominant performance in week 1 with a week 2 victory. The Robert Lee Steers fired up as they welcome in a non-district opponent, Sands, onto their home turf. First quarter pitch to Braden Sherwood, and shorts of space to run through. He's in for 6. Robert Lee leads early on. Second quarter now, Robert Lee trailing 12-6. It's Sherwood again. He will reach his way across the goal line. Steers take the 14-12 lead. Still in the second, it's Sherwood once again. Gets the pitch back, hits the B button, gets one more key block, and is into the end zone to give the Steers the lead once again. Hat trick for Sherwood in the first half. Robert Lee falls in this one tonight, 53-44. The Menard Yellow Jackets look to remain undefeated here tonight, hosting Cherokee. They would fall in disappointing fashion 79-34 versus the Indians. The Bronx Longhorns, searching for their first win of the season, will be hosting Rule at home, a team they snuck out with a victory against last season 43-40. Game time, the Longhorns on their home field for the first time of the season, looking for a win over Rule. First quarter, Cole Knight gets the handoff, bounces out to the outside, and shows off his speed. The PF Flyers rolling early for Mr. Knight, 6-0 Bronx. Still in the first, Bronx now up 12-0. It's Mr. Knight once again. Gets the pitch, goes right up the middle with the man on his back, able to cross the goal line for another touchdown. Late in the first, the go to the air, Jaden Galvan, what a pretty ball that was for the easy touchdown. All Longhorns tonight, they win it 52-0. A Thursday night matchup, we get caught up with the scores and highlights on, and we have the Ranger facing off against Paint Rock. All right, Paint Rock looking to move to 2-0 after their week 1 win over TLCA Midland. Starting in the second quarter, Indians down 22-0. Looking to change that, Jaden Hernandez moving past defenders, breaking tackles, and folks, that man is off to the races. You saw a lot of that the whole entire night. Paint Rock falls in that one 54-6. All right, thank you for sticking around. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Inside the Game after this break.
The Locker Room is back on ConchoValleyHomepage.com with high school football scores, highlights, and top stories available right from your computer or phone. The Locker Room on ConchoValleyHomepage.com. Log on and get in the game today.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do.
I left the service last year. I feel so stuck.
I love my family. Sometimes it feels like I'm not really here.
I'm glad you called. We're gonna walk through this together.
I'll see you later, okay.
So Dr. Pooey is the best of the leukemia doctors at St. Jude. We very quickly found out how much he loves his patients. One of our first visits with Dr. Pooey, he was kind of running through the protocol and naming off all the medications. And he said, but don't worry, you don't pay that, St. Jude pays that. Just to think, like, and what if they didn't?
Welcome back here to Inside the Game. Okay, for our KSAN Game of the Week in Week 3, we have the very best Falcons facing off against the Bronx Longhorns, and that will be a game to watch. All right, and thank you all, like I said, for sticking around for another week of Inside the Game here on KSAN. It's been a pleasure, and you can catch me right back here next week on Friday night at 10:15 for more highlights and scores. You all have a great night, and thank you for tuning in.
Catering for Inside the Game is provided by Chick-fil-A.
Inside the Game is